I'm dragged till I'm deaf and blind. I have no faith and it does me alright. Could never make me any better than you. Do you think we could find some relief between our opposing philosophies? I just don't think the same as you do. It doesn't matter what you say when you look me in the eyes, you blow me away. Why would you need another reason to burn it all down? Can we be good for another day? We just burn it to the ground. Use it as a weapon, yeah, we use it as a weapon, yeah. We use it as a weapon. We use it as a weapon. Our love's hard enough without us tearing apart at the seams. Good evening, space lasers, and welcome to Sci Fi Hi Fi. We have two awesome guests for you tonight. It is Pete and Matt from the Macho Grande Podcast.
Hey.
Yay!
Hello.
As always, I have my trusty pal, the mostest, Riamurin. Amazing. So let's talk about your podcast first and foremost, because you were doing your podcast before everyone else, before podcasts were cool, basically.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Very, very long. 2009, I think.
Yeah, well, and Pete used to do a show for a now defunct radio station. We did that for at least a year and a half prior to starting our own podcast. So we kind of started by doing a radio show for something else, and that kind of like went the way of the dodo, but we kind of got in early on this new thing called podcasting. And yeah, like over 10 and a bit years later, we're, nearly 12 years now.
Our 250th episode goes online tomorrow as we record.
Wowee!
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm just trying to even out the sound between us all. Hello. Abby has resubscribed for 13 months already. Already? Oh my God, Abby. Thank you. Thank you.
Just missed the competition.
What competition?
The subscriber competition.
No, she's literally just made it happen.
Oh.
That's how the subscriber competition works. Someone subscribes and we have a competition.
Oh.
This isn't your first time on the show, right?
No, I generally don't pay attention though.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Abby.
Abby, yay! So Abby is subscribed for 13 months. Anyway, so we were talking about the podcast. You've been doing it for 12 years. Is that what you said? 12 years.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's gone.
Yeah, you just hold on for a second, guys.
That's all right.
Kept up
Speak
the
again.
sounds.
Sorry, speak again. Either of
Who?
you. Oh, it doesn't
Hello.
matter anyway.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay.
Pete, we can hear you too.
Cool.
Okay, yeah, so it's just been going on quite a while now. As I say, it started as a radio show for something else that Pete was already doing, and he got bored with talking to himself.
Yeah.
He kind of met me through a nightclub he used to DJ at, and I used to harass him with obscure requests for obscure metal songs. And the next thing he was just like, he had me on the show, and we were sort of like didn't want to stop doing that, and so we started the podcast and launched it. Our first proper sort of big event was Sonosphere 2009. And we sort of last minute came up with the name for the show on our way into the event because we needed something to have the interviewees reference, so we needed a name for the show. So yeah, it all just came together last minute. As you,
There's nothing like a last minute like name or like label to put on stuff. It's great.
yeah,
We'll loosely try and do it every 2 weeks, but I use the word loose
Very loose.
because if you do the math, 2009 is
yeah, and the thing is, I mean, obviously the music industry sort of changed a lot over the 12 years, so even doing something sort of bi-weekly is a bit more tricky these days because bands aren't releasing as much and labels aren't as big as they used to be, so they don't send out as much new music to review either. So yeah.
But you've done. I mean, you're always going back to like being at Sonosphere, and how many times have you covered like Download or Sonosphere? Or
we've
anything?
covered every we've covered every download pretty much since doing it. I think next weekend will be the first one that I've missed, which is really gutting.
I mean, did you just not ready for it?
Too short notice, way too short notice, and severe lack of funds means I cannot drink solidly for 3 days. I can't afford it this year.
Yeah, well, it's understandable. It's been a rough year for everybody, really, hasn't it? It's been a rough year for everybody. So just who's like the bet? I won't say biggest because I know you've interviewed some really massive people. So I guess for on your side, who's the most impressive person that you've interviewed? Because it's subjective, really, isn't it? The amount of people you've dealt with.
But probably biggest for me is Slipknot's first ever London show, and I asked for the interview, and straight up she just said, "Yep, I've got you 20 minutes with Corey inside the venue before they play."
That's rad. Oh my god, that's awesome.
That does not happen these days anymore. It's very, very hard to get shit like that. Gradually through the festivals, I mean, the first couple of downloads, you could pretty much interview all the main stage bands up to probably sub headliner, maybe the person below. And for about 5 years, you could pretty much get your pick. And then as time's gone on, I don't know whether it's just because they more press and they tend to favor like radio, like mainstream radio and TV. So you kind of get pushed down. And nowadays at the festivals, you don't tend to get as many of the big bands. But yeah, it's probably the biggest one for me is Corey.
Sweet.
Matt?
That's a great claim to fame, actually. That's really cool.
I honestly couldn't tell you. It's all sort of bled into one nowadays. Like, there was a time when it used to just be sort of like, I can't believe we're doing this. Whereas now it's just a sort of like, I'd need to think of more interesting questions. I
mean, you've got to interview quite a few of your favourites. I mean, like Sam from Architects and Loz from Sleeps, and lots of your favourite bands you've got to chat with.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It sort of goes beyond just being a sort of fan of him by that point. You're just sort of like, you're there. I mean, we're there to do the job now. So it's kind of like, you don't really see it as like, who's the big? Yeah, well, I certainly don't really know how to kind of like. I know like the biggest that I feel lucky to sort of like have been able to, shake hands with or get a quick photograph with. Like obviously, or just say shaking hands with Phil and Selmo. I mean, Pete managed to get a photo with him when we met him, but I only managed the handshake.
Missing out.
Or, just sort of randomly bumping into just sort of like Chino Marino or something, like enough to get a quick photograph. That was cool. Or meeting Bill Bailey for a quick sort of like, he just backstage at Sonosphere after he had played.
He's
things
a
like that.
Musician. Like, he's underrated as a musician, I think. Like, he's a comedian,
Definitely.
and that's his first and foremost. But he's like a really good musician, just like bubbling underneath all of that.
Totally. And a funny guy as well. So, but yeah, I can't really think. I know just sort of like awkward interviews and things like that. But
I can tell you my most awkward one, definitely.
Oh, go ahead then. Go ahead.
Don't worry, you've opened their fucking hatch now.
Yeah, the hatch has been opened up.
Who was the original bass player of Machine Head? What was his name?
Logan. No,
No, that's guitarist.
I don't know.
Adam.
No, Adam Deuce.
Adam Deuce. That guy. I mean, to be fair to him, I'd have probably been about 17 at the time, and this is, he's a machine head. He did not. He did not want to chat to me or do an interview. It was like one word answers. Did not give a shit.
Yeah.
Literally, I was just like halfway down. I was like, let's just finish this, shall we? Rubbish.
Well, some people just don't like being talked to or, being interviewed, do they?
Well, yeah, I suppose it also is depending on the sort of line of questioning, I suppose, or what you don't know what kind of day that person's had.
Yeah, true. I mean, I always think of sports people, like football players and whatnot, being interviewed. Like, why is the journalist asking these questions? Like, you play football, you kick the ball around. You make your £1 million or whatever.
But don't ask them anything about geopolitics.
Don't ask them about politics or the latest state of things. Like, they don't know anything about this. Ask good questions, you get good answers. You ask crappy questions, you get crappy answers.
So you sent Pete ask questions?
It was my fault.
That was your fault.
Pete, sorry, dude.
To be fair,
if you didn't get good answers, you got crappy questions.
I mean, I was pretty young at the time. It was maybe all my fault.
I mean, know your audience, engage them,
Well, I was sat in a backstage room years ago with Murder One, if you remember them. And
Vaguely.
yeah, big fella played drums, and he was just like, there was some journalist came to interview him one day, and obviously hadn't done a scrap of work as to who the band were and no research, so they just took him on a fantasy cruise around whatever they were thinking at the time, and just complete lies and just making up really bad stuff about other bands and all sorts of stuff that
just chatting nonsense.
Just chatting because the guy hadn't done any research. So I think some people play you if you go in not knowing stuff, I guess.
Yeah,
I know anything about interviewing anybody.
Totally, that is a flip side risk. That I know I've sort of had panic attacks about getting stuck in at times if I've thrown into a last minute interview. But we struggle on.
Struggle on. Rick has just joined us. Hello, Rick. That means the entire Rock family is in the chat with us. Hello, Rock family.
Rick.
So we're not here to talk about music. This is a sci-fi show, not a music show. Because we did a music version of this show and nobody watched it, so that's why we decided to just go straight sci-fi.
I mean, music can be incorporated into sci-fi.
Yes.
Hence the entirety of your band.
Yeah, the entirety of my band.
So they're not mutually exclusive.
Exclusive? No, they're not mutually exclusive. No.
Right.
So everyone has been given a task today to pick a franchise, and I'm not sure actually what anyone's picked, so I can't really say what I've picked because I don't know what everyone else has picked. So I think we're all championing one sci-fi franchise, and we're just gonna go with that and we'll see what happens. We'll see what the crack is. So who's decided on one? I think Pete, you had decided on one.
I've gone for the kind of tactical vote here.
All right, what do you got?
Because I've gone Blade Runner because it's the smallest franchise ever, and to me is the most perfect.
Okay, don't start yet. Matt, have you decided on one yet?
I again was sort of waiting to see what other people had.
It's a safety call.
Well, yeah, because I all I got told was what Rin might do, what might be picking, and then what Pete might be picking. So I was kind of like, well, I could certainly argue both sides of all of those. So I want to see what everyone else is picking. So then, I mean, this is kind of one of my specialist subjects, so I could easily pick and go with whatever.
Yeah, but I said I could be one of two things. So that you could choose whatever you wanted. I was the one being the gentleman here, trying to give the lady the first choice. And you ruined it, basically.
Wop wop.
Come on, Matt. What are you going for?
Let's go with Mad Max. I think I'll go with.
Ooh, okay.
What do you have?
I'm gonna go with Evangelion Neon Genesis.
Okay, I'm just gonna go for the easy one on this one, which is Star Trek.
Ugh.
I am going to go for Star Trek because I don't want Aliens was my second choice, but the last
you got two films.
no, what?
Aliens. No, all right, sorry.
I got more than that.
You're arguing the point, not me.
I know, but I'm saying that the other films were all shit, so I didn't want to do it. So that's fine. So,
no love for Alien 3 then, because I think that gets a pass.
It scoots past probably.
Assembly cut, Alien 3 assembly cut.
It holds up.
Masterpiece.
It holds up.
If I had to pick anything from the franchise, it would be Alien vs Predator. Obviously, that is the best one.
You what?
Look at them like she's not serious, is she? No, of course not. You still cannot hear Mr. Shady. They can't hear you apparently. That's probably the best thing, to be fair.
Oh.
Did everyone watch the newest Predator, by the way? Just out of interest.
No,
No.
not at all.
That is something.
No, it isn't. It's 95 minutes of
Hell.
thing. It's pretty garbage.
Oh yeah. Yeah, don't watch it.
Which is surprising given that the sort of the people behind it. But yeah. Seems you can mess up a Predator film.
Well, yeah. The way to mess up a Predator film is to make one. Obviously.
Yeah.
I guess we're gonna have to just share that mic because
my lapel mic?
I got him a nice lapel mic and he's broken it, which
Oh,
is
dear.
because I need it for filming tomorrow. But that's nice. Thanks.
I'm very...
Heavy-handed.
Yeah, I'm ham-fisted. with most
Ham-fisted.
stuff.
Most stuff. Anyway, we'll just
That's
turn the mic up. Turn this one up. That should probably get both of us. Hopefully Abby can hear us. So where did we get to? We're talking about the Predator, but that's fine. It's fine.
Right, so we picked 4 franchises that we feel are the best versions of sci-fi. Is that suffice to say?
That's yeah. I'm gonna stick with Star Trek.
Yeah, you're sticking with Star Trek.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with Evangelion.
Evangelion.
Pete, reiterate
Blade-
what you're doing.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. And Matt, you look like you've got notes there, dude.
You've already announced it.
Yeah.
It's in my mouth.
Mad Max.
It's because you like the costumes.
Sure, that's your final answer.
Well, I got notes.
Yeah, you're regretting it now.
Well, I'm just thinking. Well, I think in the defense, I'm quite partial to go with Alien but I'm going to try. But
Matt, you've picked Mad Max. Now justify it. Why is Mad Max the best
Sci-fi franchise.
sci-fi franchise? Justify it. Give me at least 3 points.
It's bleak, realistic,
Yep. I'll give you points in realistic.
visually stunning, especially when it comes to the most recent.
Yeah, but the most recent is visually stunning, but not realistic.
Well, you don't know that it isn't realistic.
Well, I mean, I've been through time and space. I know that this doesn't happen. People don't spray paint their teeth and ride in hot rods with guitars playing in...
You haven't seen him at Download. He lets loose.
I was going to say, and yet. I mean, it hasn't happened yet.
Yet. Doesn't mean
But
it can't happen.
Certainly, it's the most. It's certainly the most rounded out of that universe. It literally just come down to a fight over the most basic materials.
Yeah, all wars are resource wars, aren't they? People want food, water, minerals, whatever. I mean, this.
Yeah, and I would
basically StarCraft.
And I would argue it is therefore the most realistic universe, and therefore the best universe because it is the complete antithesis to the Star Trek universe, which is unrealistic and too idealistic for it to be real.
What's too idealistic?
The Star Trek universe, by comparison.
By comparison, well, yes, because one is dealing with, a an apocalyptic future, while one is dealing with a beautiful rose-tinted glasses future, isn't it? So they're two very different things. It's very hard to compare them.
They're both post-apocalyptic universes where the human race has forked in two different directions.
All right.
One has gone in a realistic direction, fighting over basic amenities, and one has gone in a unrealistic direction where they have idolized and focused on the betterment of humanity.
So are you claiming that these two universes exist continuously and simultaneously?
No, I'm saying that both universes are the antipode of each other.
Okay. So it's two sides of a timeline, essentially. It can veer off in X pattern or it can veer off in Y pattern. X pattern you get Mad Max, Y pattern you get Star Trek.
Yes, and
So
Y wouldn't happen because that's not reality. X would happen because humanity is that disgusting.
I feel like you're just having a dig at Star Trek, but you're not defending. You're not actually putting your own case forward. And Abby in the chat was like, "I was with you until you just started dissing Star Trek."
I mean, to be fair, Matt, I'm with you 100% because Star Trek is just terrible.
No, because I love Star Trek, but it's also.
Why? Do you have like a tumor or something?
I have no faith in that. In humanity becoming that, whereas I can see humanity spray painting themselves in the mouth and building vehicles out of whatever scrap they can find.
I mean, a lot of youngins do that anyway. So.
Yeah, and you know, at the end of the day, we're all just going to be loners driving around in our interceptors fighting over basic rations.
But that maybe makes the better sci-fi reality. You know, I agree that it's probably more likely to happen. Doesn't make it the best sci-fi franchise? No, because it's a different argument, really, isn't it?
Well, it depends. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if we're fighting over a franchise, certainly none of the other franchises have made anything as visually stunning and action-packed as the Mad Max films.
I would tend to disagree there.
I don't think the first one's that visually stunning.
No.
And the third the third one's crap.
Technically, the first one is.
You've read my mind.
The first
apart
one
from
is,
Tina Turner, obviously.
Oh yeah, and what's his name? Among Us.
Among Us. I have no idea who you're talking about.
I don't know what you mean.
He's one of the. He's like or Master Blaster. That's his name.
That's it. Yeah, he's the big one out of the Thunderdome.
Oh,
right?
he's the big dude.
The big.
Yeah,
Dude.
he's Blaster, and then the little guy who rides on his back is Master Blaster. My eyes have been watching Mad Max. That's where they've been.
What? Oh, don't know where your eyes have been. Oh, yeah, they're just Abby's just arguing that it's not visually stunning. She disagrees with you there.
Well, people will disagree.
Mad Max is not about, you know, the crazy shit that people get up to. It's the craziness of reality that leads people to do crazy things, right? So it's regular people doing crazy stuff rather than crazy people doing crazy stuff, right?
It's regular people doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it?
Well, yeah. So
Surely all the people that are left alive.
Max, the universe of Mad Max has led everybody who has survived to lead these lives. Like, they're forced into this lifestyle. It's not just crazy people doing crazy things. It's people they've forced into this lifestyle from circumstance.
Yeah.
Yes, but Max is also an insane man, appearing sane.
Is he insane? Is he insane? What makes him insane?
I would say the trauma of watching his family being murdered and executed, and the haunted by those sort of psychotic memories.
Was he not more upset about his car? Do you think? Than his
In the first one, yeah, absolutely.
It was more about the car, surely.
Yeah, in the first one, he gave a shit about his family. It's like, oh my god, my car! Ah!
Well, to be fair, the first film more about Goose. It should be called Mad Goose, because Max is only really in it at the end. But then we get an amazing film like Mad Max 2.
Yeah, 2's fine. 2's good.
Good.
There's no argument.
Your franchise.
All right, so if we're going to compare this to another sci-fi franchise, Pete,
Blade Runner. All right, you wanted
your
3
points.
points. 3 points. Okay.
Well,
Well, all right. Firstly, it's based on a Philip K. Dick novel, so you can't
you're
go
a winner
wrong.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the pedigree there.
Yeah.
Secondly, that first film was 1982,
Yeah.
and then the new one is what, 2017.
Do you want to include the new one?
Who would have ever thought that a sequel that many years later would be as amazing as it is, and it just win?
I'd argue better than the original.
I'd like it more than the original now. Yeah,
Are you guys for real?
yeah, I absolutely adore the new one. I think it's stunning.
2049 is a masterpiece.
No. Guys, it's too flashy and doesn't have the subtext as the original.
Subtext? There is no subtext in the original.
In Blade Runner, there's no subtext in Blade Runner. Are you saying this to the internet right now?
Yes.
There's no subtext to Blade Runner.
In your
To
shot.
quote Garth Marenghi, subtext is for cowards.
And I would also argue that it's inspired a whole bunch of cool stuff and films, games, all kinds of things.
Oh yeah, like the cyberpunk kind of.
Yeah, and you've got films like
Cineverse or
Strange
whatever.
Days, probably Matrix, Fifth Element, all that kind of stuff. Really heavily influenced.
Oh yeah,
Oh, by the original Blade Runner. I just want to take the newer Blade Runner out of the equation. Otherwise, I'd completely agree with you.
I think the new one is a perfect film.
No.
Absolutely
It's
perfect.
Hollywood nonsense. It has none of the meaning of the original. So it spoon feeds you the meaning rather than the original film, leaving you to make up or discover the meaning yourself.
Yeah, I mean, mind you though, Harrison Ford, even he wanted to believe wrongly, and they had a whole argument. They had a whole argument for years about it until he was beaten down by Ridley Scott and he backed off.
Well,
But at least it left it ambiguous.
I would also argue that the two writers never agreed on it, and Ridley Scott and Harrison Ford never agreed on it. The fact that it took 4 different cuts for it to even create the subtext. There is no subtext in the first Blade Runner film. All the subtext is enhanced by 2049.
You think so?
Yes.
So
Cool. I'm glad you got my back on this one, Matt.
Okay, all right. Let me posture a hypothetical, right? Someone who has read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, watching Blade Runner 2042, versus someone who's never read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, watching Blade Runner 2042. Who is going to enjoy the film more?
I mean, Philip K. Dick famously hated the screenplay for Blade Runner, and he refused to write the novelization as well.
Yeah. So is the newer film 2042 made for people who don't know the story, or is it just made for normal human beings who don't know sci-fi? And in which case, then we can discredit it from this conversation because we're having a sci-fi convo.
Well, if we're going to measure that by looking at the box office returns for it,
no, you can't judge art by money. Come on, dude.
We can.
You can, but so pop music is far more valuable than any other kind of music.
I was only using the basis of your question as the answer for how many people saw it. You said that how many people went to see that film and just were rewarded with a subtext that was not enhanced by having seen the original. And I can say that the box office for both the original and the sequel were so low, clearly no one saw it, the wider audience, apart from people who liked the first Blade Runner, and the people that ever saw the first Blade Runner that didn't like it didn't go see the sequel either.
All right, that's a fair point.
I'll also give you the fact that they managed to put Harrison Ford in it and he not be crap.
Well, he was promised he could go in his own clothes each day.
Actually, no, you're right. His outfit is shocking in it.
He didn't even have to do his hair. He just strolled out of bed in his own clothes. He was only there for a week.
All right. So this first round robin of Sci Fi Hi Fi, we're comparing Blade Runner to, what was yours again, Matt?
Mad Max.
I think Matt's already proven that he likes Blade Runner more than Mad Max, I think.
I would lean that way as well. I mean, Blade Runner seems to have, we've got literary, gravitas. We've got film. We've got multiple films. I mean, Mad Max is a bunch of crappy films, right?
I don't know. We have to count
A computer game.
And the Kurt Russell film Soldier, which is set in the Blade Runner universe from 1998.
No, I haven't seen that.
Whose side are you on?
I'm just
You're arguing the wrong point.
That film is crap and set within the Blade Runner universe.
You're saying Kurt Russell didn't save it?
So Kurt Russell ruined the Blade Runner franchise.
No, I'm just saying that a sequel exists within that franchise that is crap.
All right, so we've got 2 good Blade Runner films and 1 crap Kurt Russell semi-Blade Runner film-ish. Right, and so in the Mad Max universe, we've got... Three
great films.
No. 3 films. Let's not label them great.
2 of them are great.
Two great films, 1 average film. And there is a video game, isn't there?
Is it?
Yeah. Open world kind of.
There's several. Yeah, I think there's a couple of Mad Max games over the years, decades.
Okay, so the audience considered that Blade Runner 2 was a good film. They liked it.
The 2042.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've put into the chat now for a poll for which one is best, Blade Runner or Mad Max, and you guys can vote on it in the chat.
So we're going to refer to the audience to level this one.
In 10 minutes. So continue.
In 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And let me continue about how Mad Max is terrible.
You can do, well, you boys can do whatever you want. I mean, that's kind of the point of the show, isn't it? Allowing boys to argue their points.
So in the newer Mad Max, when the dude is like playing guitar on like a tower of speakers, like how is that any kind of realistic future anything, right?
Have you not been to like Glastonbury at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday?
Yeah. Everyone's
that's futuristic.
Yeah.
But Burning Man.
Any of the events that Rin puts on?
Yeah.
But that's near future. Mad Max is like post-apocalypse.
Well, people will still want to play guitar.
No, because post-apocalypse, there are no guitars. There's no electricity. What is powering these speakers?
The same thing that's powering the car that has electricity running off its engine.
All right, so they got alternators running off to all the engines, powering these massive stacks.
It's a vehicle world,
right. Yeah. The majority of stacks on a stage, only one is plugged in. It's probably the same. It's just for aesthetics.
So these massive stacks are just for show.
For show.
In Mad Max.
That's what I'm saying. Just for show.
Mad stacks.
Mad stacks.
Right, in a world where petrol is probably at a premium, you don't want to be carrying full speaker cabinets. That would be mad. That is
right.
Not...
So it's far more economical to carry empty speaker cabinets and just transport them around rather than carrying no speaker cabinets.
Yeah, because you want to make yourself look big in that environment.
They're the only people that have vehicles. They don't need to make themselves look big. They have vehicles. They're already winning.
Yeah, but like
it's stupid. It's just so dumb. Oh, it angers me so much. Oh my god.
the Warhorse vehicle is essentially a moving equivalent of a Slipknot stage show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, it's for visual impact in the film, but realistically, like that's never going to happen.
Between that and any kind of marching army over the decades and centuries with.
Well, the difference is armies don't march with bands. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah, they do. They still have marching bands.
No, not to the front line. We don't march to like the enemy with like brass bands going hunk 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 hunk.
Yeah,
No,
we used
now
to.
we play metal
Metallica.
songs over PA of the American tanks.
Yeah, that's true. They
The Gulf War II and stuff.
Armies don't go into battle with bands.
Yes,
with
they
sound.
do.
No, they don't.
That's what
They do
The
not.
band Demon Slayer. That's exactly their whole shtick, isn't it?
It's a thing done in movies. It's not.
Oh, it's
You don't go to war with a band.
Is it Demon Hunter? Is it Demon Hunter? Is that like an American metal band that they
Yeah.
have a patch? They have an
Solid
army?
State Band,
Yeah,
I think.
they have. They're like an anthem for the troops.
Yeah, so how many people are going to sign up like, yeah, I'm going to walk into enemy fire playing a fucking bagpipe. Let's do this.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a good use of my existence.
Yeah, they probably do. Not bagpipes. That's old school.
Nope, there are no frontline bands. Like, you don't go into war with a band. You have bands for parade stuff.
Yeah, but you have it on speakers. They have it on speakers now.
No,
on the side of their
they
tank.
don't. Oh my god, how many movies have you seen? This is not how warfare works.
Right. When Apocalypse Now, they're in a helicopter. They've got music. There's music.
Wagner.
What do you?
I mean, if you're going to go to war, you play Wagner.
In answer to a question from the chat, I was going to say the different factions actually defend their vital fuel. I mean, so Mad Max 2, they're actually, they're being circled within a oil refinery. That's how they continue to make petrol a natural vital ingredient, in the same way that in Fury Road there is the bullet farm where all the ammunition is made, and there's the water towers held by the leaders.
So one of the plot holes in that film is, how did they purify the petrol?
They're distilleries.
Right, which takes energy. It requires energy to distill. So where did they get the energy from?
Well, sci-fi, by definition, is accepting that there is some form of resolution for the potential future to be proposed.
Okay, so we need to suspend disbelief until the coda of the film or novel or whatever.
Well, I mean, we could argue that Blade Runner was set in 2019, and I'm pretty sure 2019 was 2 years ago, and we don't have flying cars.
Where's all the spinners? Yeah.
Yeah, where's all the flying cars? I mean, 2049 is set in another sort of 28 years. Are we going to, we still won't have projected girlfriends, virtual girlfriends. Well, maybe we will.
Dude,
already
you're on the wrong websites, man. This is a thing.
Yeah, I mean, you've got virtual Twitch streamers who are just characters now. Okay, there is a person behind it, but
they have virtual OnlyFans, like models. Do you call them models? I don't know, but yeah.
That's model toys.
what are you doing on OnlyFans?
I'm not doing it. I spend a lot of time on the internet.
Okay.
I've seen the darkest of things in the world.
Okay. Let's move along, shall we? Yes, indeed. We've still got a bit of time on that poll, so if you want to put in your 2 cents about which one is better, Blade Runner versus Mad Max, your time is running out.
You can either vote correctly or wrongly.
Well,
so.
it's I can tell you now, it's all very heavily weighted in one direction right now.
Well, that's because people are talking about preference as opposed to which is a better franchise.
Okay, well, maybe we should talk about what makes a franchise good.
The fact that it gets sequels that don't lose money when they are made, like the Blade Runner franchise.
Or like Star Wars.
Well, they made money, but they didn't make as much money as they could have made had they, I don't know, had a plan from the beginning.
So your definition of a good franchise is just something that is monetarily valuable.
Well, it has to be monetarily valuable to become a franchise.
Well, so let us consider Firefly for a second. Cancelled very quickly, but has a huge cult following.
Yes.
Right, so it's monetarily not viable, but
Yes.
but culturally
But
it
the
seems
fans
far
are
more.
loud.
Sorry, go on.
But the fans are loud.
Yes. Oh
Yes.
yeah. Is that it? The fans
Oh,
are
well,
loud.
I mean, they got their film made. They were loud enough to get a film made, and then no one went to see the film.
Well, because I assume people who watch Firefly are pirates, and they just torrent this stuff.
Well,
Oh, space pirates. There's
if
space
it had
pirates.
been any good, people would have gone to see it, and it would have become a franchise. It would have got a sequel.
Right. So are we defining franchises, or at least worthy franchises, by mainstream following rather than diehard fan following?
No, I think you're going down the wrong path. The only
Right.
way to judge
Careful,
a good
Pete.
franchise is by lunchboxes. The quality of the lunchbox.
Right. So I'm sure Firefly has had a lunchbox.
I don't know.
Oh no.
I don't know.
I mean, Pete, you're kind of on the same level though. Like, the more money you make, you're gonna have more merch, right?
Yeah, but it's the quality.
Oh well, I
And the little
find it.
figures, obviously.
So
That's what it's all about.
All right. So we've just gone on eBay right now. We found a Firefly lunchbox.
Oh, what?
That's
I
selling
know.
at auction. It's the auction's still in progress. It's $101.
All right, see if you can find a more expensive Blade Runner one then.
Yeah, look, I would counter what Pete's argument. I'd counter Pete's argument that a franchise is based on quality by countering it with something like the Friday the 13th franchise. There is no quality
There's
in the
no
film,
quality there.
but
It's
they
it's
make
pulp.
money, and therefore they necessitate a franchise. And a successful franchise only gets sequels from making money.
Yeah. So
Otherwise,
are we,
you're just
is
world
is
building.
that the one value that we're judging a franchise by? What makes the most money?
Well, I think the question answers itself. If we are judging franchises, we have to understand that the more successful franchise is what makes a franchise.
Sure, but I mean, there's short-lived franchises that have like a huge impact on the cultural zeitgeist. For example, The Matrix. I mean, there's 3 films. 2 of them are terrible. The first Matrix film has literally changed the way we exist, and the way that sci-fi and like that sort of genre is written.
Mhm.
So you can change humanity with one film if it's done correctly.
True, but that doesn't make it a franchise. One film,
Okay, so what is a franchise?
a film that is successful enough to launch other films from.
And I mean, this is not my pick. I'm just using the Matrix as an example. But the first Matrix film, like, blew everybody's mind, right?
Yes.
And then they made 2 more, which were just kind of meh.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was so successful and culturally impactful that they're making a Matrix 4 right now.
Yes, exactly. So
Yes,
you
it's
can
because it's franchisable.
it's franchisable. Yes.
So Abby's saying it's an authorization granted by a government or company to an individual or group, enabling them to carry out specified commercial activities or for example,
Abby,
acting
we
as
weren't
a
looking for the dictionary definition of a franchise.
She give it to you anyway. She doesn't need
yeah,
permission.
she-
She's just going for it.
Abby is like the new Alexa.
Yeah, she is the new Alexa. That's right. What I would say is that Blade Runner doesn't have a lunchbox, but Firefly has a lot.
A Firefly is cult.
Yeah.
Mad Max is not cult.
We weren't talking. We said Blade Runner, not Mad Max. I haven't checked Mad Max actually. Let me check that.
I would argue that both Mad Max and Blade Runner are cult as well, and if anything, their cult is larger, just not as loud as the Serenity audience.
Yeah, so the Mad Max cult is pretty diverse, actually, because I randomly stumbled upon a car group, and these dudes were modifying their cars to look like Mad Max cars. So they were welding on plates and spikes and stuff, and they were doing, like, get-togethers and stuff.
Yeah,
like seeing who has the most Mad Max type car.
Well, I think
that was quite cool.
Burning Man is kind of set up around that
Mad
idea,
Maxy.
but also there's Road to Apocalypse. I think it's probably what you're talking about, where they what do you call it, soup up their cars to look like Mad Max, and they all drive to Portugal or wherever that festival is.
The one I saw was an American one, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a European kind of like thing.
I just told you there is.
Yes. And so you weld plates to your car.
That's like a Mad Max world.
Yeah, but there is a lunchbox for Mad Max. It's on Amazon. It's currently unavailable, but it does exist. It's quite nice, actually.
Nah, it's not as cool as the last one,
I
actually.
quite like it.
Right, so are we up to the poll yet? Do we have some audience feedback to determine which is the better sci-fi franchise?
Yes, the audience have said that Blade Runner 100% is the better franchise.
Mad Max?
0.
Sorry. You've lost this round.
All I can say is the people that voted are wrong, because sadly, as much as I love Blade Runner, it isn't getting people. Yeah, and Mad Max is getting a sequel, so yeah.
Suck up, Blade Runner.
Therefore, it is the better franchise.
Rick is saying that he reckons Matrix 4 and John Wick 4 will be the same film.
Dude, Rick, just because Keanu Reeves is in it doesn't make it the same film. Just because he's a two-dimensional actor doesn't make it the same film.
But he's an awesome bass player. I mean...
Lawrence Fishburne's in both of them as well.
What was that?
Lawrence Fishburne's in Matrix 4 and John Wick 4.
Oh, is he? I really like Lawrence Fishburne. Have you seen Hannibal? The series with Mads Mikkelsen. God, that's awesome. Anyways, bit of a tangent.
Agreed.
Sorry, don't mean to pull you out.
Okay, so we're gonna have a short break in this discussion for the creepy kid that we were talking about in the chat earlier on. Matt, you brought this up. Do you want to tell the folks what we're about to show them?
Well, there were discussions earlier about potentially arguing that the Back to the Future franchise is the best. Was the best franchise. However, I brought up the little known, unseen, once you see it, you can't unsee it point from Back to the Future 3, where Doc Brown introduces his kids to Marty in the sort of final stages of the film, and the child actor, who is a rascally little scamp, seems to have been missed by everyone, by the director and the editors. Essentially just encourages and invites the audience to look at his balls.
We'll just play this. And
wow.
It is. I can't play the audio because YouTube will kick us off. But there you go.
Oh shit! I've seen this actually. Yeah, watch the kid in the background.
Yeah.
A second.
There it goes.
Look at his face. It's just like, yeah, you know it.
He knows what he's doing. He's like, yeah, I'm just gonna scratch it a little bit.
Christopher Lloyd looks well. When you had it paused a minute ago, it looks like he's going full on Brundlefly.
That dude is a legend.
Wow.
Like, I swear, man.
Like, it's like the
Someone needs to track him down.
we needed an interview with this young gentleman.
with the creepy kid. There's other films that have stuff like that. I guess the only one that came to mind was like Three Men and a Little Baby. There's apparently like a ghost in the background.
Oh,
but I
the
think it's
cutout
just
of
a cutout.
what's his name's behind the curtain, isn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah. So yeah. Any
What
more?
about the closing credits of Teen Wolf?
What's in the closing?
I don't know.
Where- yeah, in the sort of before the credits come up in Teen Wolf, during the sort of the final celebrations of the basketball match, there's a guy in the background with his junk hanging out of his pants.
Wow.
A Teen Wolf blooper wardrobe
Yeah.
malfunction. Is
And
that word?
sometimes it gets cut out, sometimes it doesn't. But it's there.
Oh, let's
But
just
it's
put it out
there.
and see what happens. Well, we find it, so let's just see what happens.
Oh, yeah, wardrobe malfunction. Yeah, it's just after he kisses Booth.
Yeah.
There's the kiss.
Yeah, and then top left.
Oh, that guy.
He's got his junk out.
Hey,
Hey.
amazing.
What a sneaky man.
What a champ.
Well done, dude.
Did you see it? Did you? It's gonna replay it. It's gonna replay it. Oh yeah.
Ayo.
Thank God the quality of stuff was bad back then. You don't really see it.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna get banned for that kind of stuff. You can't see any
No.
detail.
No, not by today's standards.
Yeah.
But I bet it looked good in the cinema.
Yeah, that's cool. So we're moving on to the next two. Yeah, the chat is going creepy.
Well, the chat's always creepy.
Chat's always creepy.
I mean, it's people alone at home.
No, it's
on their
not.
computers.
Literally, it's the Rock family. So it's two of them sitting
I
in their
don't-
house.
Yeah. I'm trying to build some. I don't know.
What? What's the word?
I've totally forgotten.
missed it.
I'm too
Okay.
many beers deep.
Too deep, yeah.
I've lost it.
So are you saying that what we've actually done is we've pitched the two guests against each other, and now we have to run it out for Star Trek and Evangelion?
Evangelion!
I don't think yours counts because it's an anime.
What? You fucking what, son?
So Pete and Matt, you guys can comment in on this as well, because really, we're not going to sit and have this conversation and leave you two sitting on the side. So come on
Right,
in
so-
and join the party.
Alright, first of all, have you guys seen Neon Genesis Evangelion, the anime?
I have not.
No?
I'm afraid.
Are you
Not-
familiar with the concept, the themes?
Yeah, I know of it, and I
Know
have
of it.
obviously I've seen some Star Trek.
Ugh.
Isn't it? What's the one? Would they go back to Earth? Is it about a dolphin or something?
Oh, it's the humpback whale.
That one. That one's great.
Yeah.
How is that related?
To what?
Neon Genesis.
It's not.
Oh. Are we just talking about things that are not related at the
No,
moment?
he was talking about Star Trek. He'd seen Star Trek.
Oh, right. I
But he
asked
hasn't
if...
seen your one.
Okay, my one.
Your one. So the fact that no one's seen it,
That puts me in a hard
and that
position.
puts you in a bad position.
Yeah, I'm already automatically on the defense.
And the Rock family have weighed in already, and they decided it's Star Trek. Love, it's Star Trek.
Well,
I would argue
I'm going to fight it, and
Trek.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to argue the point.
Okay, so why don't you tell people first of all what your franchise is and what it's about, because no one's seen it, and then
Okay.
I've seen it, but you know.
So, Evangelion, or Neon Genesis, Evangelion Neon Genesis is a 1992 Japanese anime that is centered around Shinji Ikari, who is the son of a high-level scientist, and this is post-apocalypse, just so everyone is aware. This the entirety of the anime is set post-apocalypse. So he's the son of this high-level thing, high level guy who has a very disconnected relationship with his father. He's never known his mother, and he's forced into piloting these mecha, and these mecha are biological / mechanical mecha, so huge robot things that are, built to fight what is called angels.
Angels. Not
Angels,
aliens.
yeah. And so it relies heavily on Judeo-Christian culture and biblical texts and things. So, like, oh my god, there's way too much to go into.
It's always a good start in an argument.
Yeah,
Always a good way.
Okay.
If I was to start watching this, like, how much are we talking? Like, how many years worth of stuff is there in this?
Well, no. So the original anime is 24 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Each and 45 minutes, an hour long-ish.
Right.
Right, and the more you know about the Bible, the more like it's relevant, like because they rely heavily on like Christian themes and like the names of. So, for example, there's 3 supercomputers that control the entirety of humanity, right? And the names of these 3 supercomputers, these 3 AI, are the names of the 3 wise men that came to visit the birth of Jesus. They're called the Magi. Why are you looking at me like this?
Because you're beside me and you're talking, and then I want to engage you in conversation, so I'm looking at you.
All right, let me boil it down real quick, because I mean,
because you're already.
I've dug myself into a hole right now.
Yeah.
So this anime has had more of an effect on my entire existence than literally any other piece of art in the world. So this is why I've picked Evangelion. Right, so we're going to compare this with
Star Trek. Because everybody likes a good story that ends and gets rounded out most of the time.
No, but we don't want that. As human beings, we want the unknown.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
Obviously, we don't.
Then why do you create music? Because you're searching for the unknown. You're trying to probe into the nothingness that is just adjacent to your existence.
Yeah,
you want adjacent to existence. You want the unknown. You want the nothingness.
But I also want a story that ends, which is what I do. All my stories end, and everyone knows how they end before we've even got there.
Congratulations. That's Disney. That's not art.
Star Trek.
Star Trek is Disney. It's nothing. It's pulp. So, like the 1990s, 1950s pulp novels and stuff, right? It's just crap written down as quick as possible, rough paper, printed, send it out. It's quantity over quality.
Yeah, but
that's Star Trek.
So, yeah,
Star Trek is quantity over quality.
What Abby is saying is that what you're saying is has no reason or anything to do with being a franchise. Everything you're saying is that it made you feel, so therefore it wins.
Yeah, that's what.
And I would argue.
Yes, Matt.
I would argue that my argument that success is also what makes Star Trek the better franchise, because even with its somewhat flops, it's such a successful franchise, or each film is building upon the last, that it warrants a franchise sequel. What has Evangelion done since 1998?
Okay, so there's the original series, there's a second series, there's 2 films, and I believe there is a video game. Oh, plus all the graphic novels, which I'm not even going to mention, because, there's tons of them.
Okay, so anime films, it's had 1987, 1997, 2007, 2009, 2012, and 2021 has a new film.
So they're still going.
So Star Trek, though, and that's had tons of spin-offs.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's had animations, action figures, video games, comic books, written novels, spin-off novels, spin-off characters.
Yeah, but just
Shatner's solo album. I mean, that alone is worth.
Well, if we're gonna put music into it, Star Trekking is all the best music video.
Star Trekking across the universe
And song is just the best thing ever. Yeah, thanks. So I have to say that for me, Star Trek wins because the last thing it's put out in its franchise is, to me, one of the better things it's put out. So the Lower Decks animated series is really good, and it's.
I haven't watched that. Or what was the one just before as well? Was it Picard? Is that good?
Picard, I started watching it and then fell away from that, but I've been told I have to get back into it by a Comic-Con DJ who was adamant that Picard just you need to get past like the 6th, a good number of episodes before it gets good. The thing is that the Matrix ruined running for me, so I hate anything that has a lot of running in it. You know, at the end of Matrix, you're just going to fight the guy, so why are you running? Don't run.
Yeah.
And he runs for such a long time.
He runs away from the guy to eventually fight him.
Somebody put a video up the other day, this is not related, but it's a brilliant running video. Somebody on YouTube has done a video of Steven Seagal running like a girl, and it's a compilation of him running, and it's incredible.
He's an absolute retard.
He's a very weird guy, but you have to see him run.
Like a black belt of every martial art.
He just flaps his hands. I can't believe I'd never noticed it before.
We've totally got a video of that. We've totally got that.
But then, obviously, here we go.
That's not how people run.
That's how he runs. He loves it. Look at him just run.
There's some absolute blinders in here.
He does flap his hands around quite a lot.
He is
He's
flapping.
a bit of a flapper.
He's a floppy bird.
Do you think anyone ever said to him, "Do you know what you look like?" And then he probably just punched him in the face.
Yeah. Well, you can't tell Steven Seagal that he's doing something wrong.
No, that's Chuck Norris, isn't it?
That's not Chuck Norris.
To be fair,
That's Steven Seagal.
Yeah, I mean, he about the ponytail. He's not going to listen about the way he runs.
No, that's true.
No.
That's true. Anyway, so we were talking about. Oh yeah, so with Picard, I had to drop off because there was too much running in it. They were just running around, and he's an old man. Why do you have your character running around when he's, give him something nice to do, like be, like in Next Generation, Spock comes back. Spock's dad comes back as an ambassador, and he gets to sit around and just, mediate between people, and that's what Picard should have been doing, not running around, getting shot at by young'uns. How don't they know who they're shooting? God damn it. There you go. But anyway, Lower Decks is amazing, and you should definitely watch it. It is very good fun. So there you go. And so that's the end of it, really.
That's it.
It's made more money. It has more fans. It has more iterations.
Evangelion has more fans because it's influenced further aspects of art. Nobody has watched Star Trek and gone, I'm going to make some movies based on this, or I'm going to write a novel based on this. Evangelion has spawned...
Yeah, Galaxy Quest.
Oh yeah, it's a spoof
Are we
film,
saying that Spaceballs is a Star Wars franchise?
Yeah, well, Spaceballs is Star Wars franchise. Well, in the universe at least.
Yeah, in the universe, not the franchise.
No, the franchise, no, because they're not owned by them.
No, of course not.
But nobody watches Star Trek and goes, "Oh, this inspires me to write something or create something." Nobody is inspired by Star Trek.
Of course they are.
It's where art goes to die.
No, dude.
No, Star Trek is not the beginning of something beautiful. It's the end of something that was good.
No, it's just it's statements like that
that make people. This is a troubling argument.
It's comments like that make you have no friends. That's basically.
I would rather have no good friends than I have a lot of shit friends.
Okay, good. Good. There is a band inspired by Star Trek, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, there has to be.
Them?
The holodeck. A lot of people use that. Yeah.
There's more bands inspired by The Simpsons than by Star Trek.
We've had that horrible Simpsons band at the club.
With the
horrible
Oakley
guys.
Oakley Dokley.
We've
had them
White
twice.
Spritzer. Oh my god, it's awesome.
Just
we
move
got
the mic
offered them
away from
again, but like the whole band has changed. Like all the Neds apart from one. I was like, nah, the people are going to be into it now, definitely.
Well, there's a band called Man or Astroman who cloned themselves and then toured both sides of America at the same time.
Well, sort of prestige style.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah. So that counts. The holodeck appears in a lot of things.
Right.
Community is the main one that pops to mind.
Also, Community is terrible. Community is pulp fiction.
You just don't like anything that's cool,
No,
or other people like. You don't like things that other people
No,
like.
I like a lot of stuff, but I acknowledge that, like, if it's original and genuine, or if it's just a remake of something else. The entirety of the series of Community is
Star
just...
Trek is original and genuine.
So what did you say,
What's that?
Matt?
I said Star Trek is original and genuine.
Yeah.
Star Trek is not original or genuine.
Of course it is. They were covering like the first season.
No, but like literally all of their stories are based off like old 1950s novels.
Not all of them.
Yeah, pretty much all of them. Like there's no original content in Star Trek. They're just rehashing it for the new medium, which was television.
I don't think so. That is like a very bold statement for someone who is talking shit, quite frankly.
Well, that's literally my job.
to make bold statements and talk crap.
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's nice you find your lane early in life. That's all I can say. I don't think anyone else is going to agree with you. I think I've just won. And we will ask the audience. And, Pete, what side do you of this?
I mean, I'm not a massive fan, but I guess I'd have to go Star Trek on that.
Yeah. Matt?
I'm not even surprised.
Abby's saying, quiet now.
Abby hates me.
Yeah, Star Trek. I mean, TNG and Deep Space Nine were my jam. I mean, they are the better franchise. The fact that you franchise out into different shows and sub-genre shows with, Enterprise, Picard, Lower Deck. I mean, the fact that it can recast a whole new generation of characters, and then it can also, within its own franchise, reset the world and recast and start again within its own timeline and film franchise. So it not only preserves what came before, it's setting up something separate for a different generation of film goers and consumers to enjoy. It's the better franchise.
Well,
I couldn't say it better myself.
Everyone's entitled to their wrong opinion, so...
Everyone's entitled to their wrong opinion.
So, are we going to have a playoff now?
We've
got
already started it. Yeah.
Star Trek against Blade Runner?
Blade Runner. Yeah.
Hold on a second. Well, so there's only two people watching, and they've both voted for Star Trek, so I don't think we need to keep this poll up.
Oh, no, that was Star Trek versus Evangelion.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Nah, I should have picked Stargate.
That'll just have to be another day.
Yeah, that's another day.
It's another day.
I misread the question. Do I get a redo?
Now you get to argue for Star Trek.
Well, if we're going to do Blade Runner versus Star Trek, I'm on the Blade Runner side, 100%. Philip K. Dick, he's the dude.
I mean, Star Trek's a bigger, more successful franchise, but I would argue Blade Runner, the quality of just those two things is unsurpassable.
Well, no,
whereas I'd say there's quite a lot of tat in Star Trek.
Yeah, when we're talking franchise, it's not just like what is made based on like created by the creator. It's things that were inspired by it, which is where I got differential opinions to Rin. So, Blade Runner inspired a lot of different things, right? And so it created a new kind of not storyline, but like a different sort of way to viewing AI and stuff like that. Whereas I don't think Star Trek has created anything new. They're just rehashing like tropes.
Well, I would counter that with both the Philip K. Dick novel and first even development of a screenplay for the first Blade Runner film came over a decade after the first developments of Star Trek and even the first 2 seasons of the original series. So, if anything, those are reactions to something that was established a decade before Blade Runner had anything to react against.
Yeah.
So therefore, it came up with something original.
So if we're talking about the original, which of the Blade Runner thing is Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, the things that were inspired by that, I think, would be more numerous than simply Star Trek. Star Trek is one thing, but Philip K. Dick's novels have inspired lots of things. Blade Runner is one of those things. The two films, is one inspiration of the original novel, but that original novel has inspired a lot of different things, whereas Star Trek is just one thing.
Okay, are you going to say the same point, like, different ways, like 4 or 5 times?
Yeah, pretty much.
To make your argument?
That's
Is
my
that really what your argument is?
that's
The
my
same
argumentative
thing
technique.
1,000 times.
Well, until someone cuts me off, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to say the same thing around
Same
in
thing
circles.
over and over again. Well, see, I don't think you can say that things aren't inspired by Star Trek, because I wrote a comic which had Star Trek-esque characters in it, specifically.
But Star Trek is hollow. Like, it
Oh
doesn't...
my god, this is the same. It's the same argument. You know, you're just going around in circles. Anyway, let's look at this poll. Let's look at. Oh, we were on. The thing is, like, I don't want to put Blade Runner up against Star Trek, really.
Because Blade Runner's going to win.
For exactly no, I don't. I mean, I'm not really that much invested, to be fair. But because it feels like it feels dirty. It is putting up art against slush. You know, you may say it like 4 times, but you know, it is true. I don't, and you know. You don't put up what do you call it, like Mona Lisa up against freaking somebody. I don't want to like
some shit stain.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to slut shame or like. I was just gonna pull out some like known celebrity, and I'm like, that's not.
I'm taking offense to this. The fact that you're not even defending your own argument.
No, right? No. What I said was I don't like putting them up against each other because of this, but I will pull the franchise card out and say that Blade Runner is not the better franchise because it's smaller and has not.
It hasn't made enough money.
As much money and all the other factors.
It hasn't franchised enough. I mean, Blade Runner has built a world which people didn't want to see. The original thing that Star Trek has over any other sci-fi universe is that it is an idealistic universe. No, very rarely do other franchises have humans as the inoffensive focal point. It's all about the character, and it's not about what humans do to upset the universe. Every other sci-fi universe is built around the human dilemma.
Yeah, no, that's because no one believes that humans can sort their shit out.
Well,
which is why it's such an original premise, and why it has not only, which is the counter to the argument that it's a hollow franchise. It is not a hollow franchise. It is rich, and you're putting characters that react unlike any, because they've done away with any kind of hostility to other nations. They're there to be the problem solvers. The best part about Star Trek is that when it's written well, it surpasses any other type of sci-fi. and it's still influential massively to this day. I mean, it has been a successful franchise in every decade since the 60s.
Yeah. Eat that.
Yeah, so I'm not going to discredit its ability to influence, pop culture. Right, everybody knows Star Trek far more than Blade Runner, no doubt. But what has been more meaningful? No, that's the wrong term. More artistic, maybe, because Star Trek is not artistic. Like there's no.
But that's not true either, because it is artistic in loads of ways. Okay, so it's not. It's
every episode the same group of people go and do a thing on a new planet. Blah 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 blah. First, second, third act, right? First act, problem happens. Second act, they find a solution. Third act, there's a resolve.
Sometimes
it's just written. It's pre-written.
Sometimes they do a double episode, so that's not even
true.
true.
Oh wow! So we get to spread 3 acts over 45 minutes.
No, but again,
it's not anything.
That isn't. If you watched Star Trek, that isn't what Star Trek is about.
What is Star Trek about?
It's about a idealized version of humanity that is beyond conflict. It's there as problem solving and resolution and adventurers. So
it's
the
American
characters
imperialism based in space.
Well, it's not, because
it's not American imperialism.
It absolutely is.
We
are the problem solvers. We go into space and we sort everybody else's shit out.
But they're not. Because
it's space imperialism.
No, because they're not going around stealing people's ore or resources.
No. They convince people that you're the same team as me, and then the next group of starfighters come through and like, oh yeah, now give us your ore.
That's not true.
Doesn't Shatner punch lots of women early on? Isn't that problematic now?
That's literally the only reason I watch Star Trek. To watch Shatner punch women.
There is a code of conduct and regulations that they adhere by. They don't interfere in civilizations. They are not.
Except they totally do every single episode.
Not every episode, but
literally every episode. That's the basis of Star Trek.
Some of the best episodes are the intellectual debates about why they can't interfere.
Yeah.
That's some of the best arguments, and then they have protagonists like Q trying to force them into making a decision that they have made themselves better than. They have gone further than a fifth dimensional being is trying to push them into.
No, what they've done is wasted 35 minutes of my time talking about why they shouldn't have done something that they never did.
Well, that's something that you have to work out. That's not Star Trek's fault.
I think they also cover a lot of political and other elements that are happening at the time of the making that other shows couldn't do. And I always considered that the fact that they make humans, the way that humans have sorted themselves out, as a flaw in Star Trek, because I actually, when I was younger, would prefer Deep Space Nine, not Deep Space Nine, Babylon 5, on the fact that humans were still able to be shitty to each other. Yeah, but now that seeing how you've mentioned it, I've never thought about it your way, Matt. That's actually the thing that makes Star Trek the standalone sci-fi piece, and the fact that they deal a lot with they had an episode where the aliens were fighting, and one alien set was black and the other alien set was white, and they were literally the same aliens, just one set was black and one set was white.
Everybody hates what's different to them.
Yeah, but
that's it. That's the inherent challenge of making an interesting Star Trek episode or film, is that you have to understand that the characters are beyond our way of thinking. So you have to create an interesting situation to put those idealized characters within.
Abby says, "Yup."
Yup.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's true. That too. So we'll look at Star Trek 1 anyway. So they go. The audience voted for Star Trek over Blade Runner.
Oh,
Well done, everybody.
Our audience is comprised of retards.
Our audience is comprised of one family, so that is probably socially distanced.
Rick, Abby,
3 households.
Get your shit together. Be on my side next time, guys.
Oh, we'll see what the next one is. So basically, what we can do for the next little bit now is go over some random questions that our AI comes up with in the chat. If you're up for that, boys. If you're up for
Sure.
that.
We got a magic 8-ball, and we roll for random questions.
Go for it.
So the first random question.
Hold on. I mean, but if you could do that, there's obviously going to be something I've done wrong that stops the question coming up. If you're going to be like that.
Nah, never. Come on, Abby. I will find some argument that you'll be on my side for.
I don't think I've spelt it right yet. Hold on.
Wow, wow.
Wow. What should be the goal of humanity?
Hate.
Well, how
Just
how
pass
about
the buck.
just as an easy one? Let's not completely destroy the planet. Which should be number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2, let's get rid of all religion because it's completely unnecessary in this day and age.
Get rid of what? Sorry.
Religion?
Religion. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think the sooner everyone is into, I think as soon as atheism has become the normative structure for humans to get by, I think that will resolve a lot of problems.
Big disagree. Atheism is essentially hedonism, which is essentially nihilism. So, I'm not posturing that religion should be the be all and end all, but a singular moral goal is beneficial to all of humanity and the planet. So if we all have the same morality, then we are also doing the same thing, right? And so if you're basing your morality on the lack of religion, then the lack of religion draws many different branches of morality. No, anyway, chime in. Come on, give me something.
Problem is,
I don't think atheism causes that at all.
Okay, right. So if we were to look at monotheistic cultures, or generally any cultures.
But whether you go polytheism or monotheism, it all boils down to the fact that nobody in this day and age should be like. If you go back several hundred thousands of years or whatever to the previous gods, our current gods are just gods that haven't been forgotten about yet. That's all they are.
Yeah. I'm not saying there is a god. I'm saying we should believe in the non-existent god.
It's just at the point where it plays a role. Together. It should play no role in education or politics, and that's a large part of what atheism is.
I think politics
about.
should be based off morality, and currently, politics is clearly not morally based.
Well, certainly in the UK, politics is working really well for us all.
Yeah, right. So far, our atheistic politics is not working out for us. Surprise, surprise.
Well, I don't think that our politics is atheistic. Unfortunately, there has not been a separation of church and state.
And America is in a terrible, terrible situation with it at the minute.
Yeah, we're definitely not looking to America for guidance in this respect. We're a little bit more cultured than them, so.
But that therein is the problem. There needs to be an acceptance that having a belief system is inherently wrong because it's not based in reality.
So are you saying that believing in a belief system is wrong? Or are you saying that believing in a belief system that is not based in reality is wrong?
Yeah, no, I'm saying that having a belief system or believing in a fantasy is inherently wrong.
Okay, so
Especially when
I-
laws
I'm-
are then being based on it.
oh yeah,
Yes.
no, okay, I totally agree. Right.
If you can't agree on what is reality, then that is just the beginning of the problems. And if reality is accepting that believing in something that you have no physical evidence of, then you're already
Okay.
you're already losing. I mean, if you will allow yourself to believe in something with no evidence, you essentially have all the ingredients and starting blocks for everything that is wrong in the current world.
Cool. All right. So, is there any scientific evidence that murder is wrong? But we've all collectively agreed that murder is wrong, and we've based
Yes.
this off previous religious doctrine, and we've kept this through to our current culture.
But I don't
there is
need
no
religion
such-
to
there's-
tell me not to murder somebody.
Yeah,
No, of course not.
I know
Because
that
you
I
know
have
this.
inclination or want to do it, and I know
It's not religion telling you not to do it, but there's a lack of science telling you to not do it. There is no
Well-
scientific basis to not murder people.
Well, the scientific basis to not murder people is that if someone murders someone, there is scientific evidence that people are upset and angry and distressed.
That's
and
not
it
scientific,
causes-
though. That's
I don't
cultural
really
evidence.
think it's science's problem
Culturally,
to
it's
have
wrong
to
murder
deal with
people.
this.
There's no science that says killing people is wrong. Culturally, it is wrong to murder people.
As Pete says, it isn't science's problem to resolve murders. I mean, like I think you're barking up the wrong tree to jump to that sort of flippant. Yes, but if we didn't,
Oh,
have
Magic 8 Ball, next question.
if we didn't have a theistic belief system, we wouldn't know what was right and wrong. It's just absolute bollocks.
Well, we've based our entirety of morality of what
we
is
have.
right and wrong based on religion. And we don't believe in religion anymore. I'm not a religious person, but we've
You
based our morality culturally on religion.
We haven't.
No, I don't think we have either. Because our current religions aren't old enough for how long humans have been on the planet. We've gone through several stages of different ones that are completely different to the last.
Yeah, and your argument is said murder is wrong, but that limited statement in the Ten Commandments says absolutely nothing about self-defense or wars or
Yeah, that's not really what I was saying though.
no, but that in itself is more of a human ethical question that has nothing to do with
Yeah.
having a theistically built belief structure.
Right. So I believe the evolution of humanity, ethics came first. Let's not kill my neighbors because their children or friends might kill me. Right. So that's ethics first, and then we built a doctrine around those ethics, and we called it religion. So we indoctrinated those ethics of common sense into religion. So don't fucking kill people because they might come and kill you back.
But religion was also really part of just controlling people.
Yeah, it's all
And-
about
and just
religion
getting-
as a system
getting-
of control only came about in the 12th or 13th century. In
No.
the Renaissance.
no. I mean, you can go back to every ancient civilization, and there is some
And
form.
they all have religion, which was
belief.
but it's their form of control along with whatever
Well,
local government they
if
had.
you call it control, as in like a higher group of people trying to control a lower group of people.
But that's what religion is.
Yeah,
Well, so how do you unify a group of people? How do you get human beings to act along the same lines? For example, you want everybody to recycle because it's better for the humanity. There is a greater good to the act of recycling. How do you get all
That's-
human beings to do that?
That's
through a
political.
doctrine.
That's political.
Politically, yeah.
And science, and that comes back to science.
Yeah, right. But eventually that will be called religion.
No.
Getting people to do the right thing.
But just because lots of people do the same thing, although you might call that a religion, doesn't make it an actual religion.
So what makes a religion?
Something to do with a ridiculous fantasy figure in the sky.
Well, a lot of religions don't have a Well, I mean,
Most of them do.
Christianity doesn't have a
big
fantasy
spaghetti
figure.
monster in the sky.
Oh yeah, flying spaghetti monster, absolutely.
But
I'm on board with that. I'll wear my colander on my head any day of the week.
could we perceive a future where if enough people say like music is my religion or yoga is my religion, if there was enough folks that said that, would that then become a religion?
Well, I think that's misunderstanding the definition. Of
Yeah, it's more coining a phrase, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. But isn't it
well,
not possible
this
that
is
would
kind of what I'm accusing you two
if you use
guys
the
of.
terms in the wrong
People-
sense, then
people don't belong or in defense of their love of music.
And I mean, religion in 2021 is more about lack of education now than
Well,
anything else.
That's a bold claim because there's a lot of very intellectual religious people.
Yeah, there's some.
let's move on.
I would
All
still
right.
say that there,
This is clearly a contentious issue.
Of course it is. That's why
Right.
you brought it up.
Yeah, privately, I
This is-
really enjoy continuing this conversation because you seem quite eloquent about your discussing your opinions. But for the stream, let's move on.
Let's move on. So the Matt had put in the 8-ball and it had come up with a random article. So I put in space news into Google, and the first thing that of interest that came up is how many dead bodies are there in space? How many dead humans are there? Do you think there are in
humans?
space?
Are
Humans.
we including the Challenger particles?
they're not in space.
Actually,
Not
still
space.
out in space.
Yeah. How many dead humans are there in space?
I mean,
How many
Are there-
orbital corpses are
or
there?
orbital corpses are
are
there?
there any though that haven't returned,
Yeah,
crashed
yeah.
and returned? I mean, there's a dog. There's Laker.
The monkey.
Like,
No,
no, didn't Leica come
chimpanzee,
back?
rather.
I don't know.
No, they're gone.
Oh,
Yeah.
she died in space?
Yeah, I can't remember though. That was the dog, wasn't it? Not the chimp.
Yeah, Leica. Yeah.
Leica.
I thought
The
she came
Russian-
back. Literally the first life form that was sent into space.
I don't know. If
There was
they-
Leica.
I know they knew that it was definitely going to die, and there was nothing they
Okay.
could do.
There is a mannequin driving a Tesla.
there is.
Yeah.
Driving fucking
I-
Musk's Tesla.
I don't think there's any. Not floating around.
Not humans.
Yeah, so the answer is you're right. There isn't
Yes.
because anyone who died in a big ball of fire, of course, he did it inside the atmosphere.
Yeah, on the way back.
3 people have died in space. They're all Russians, by the looks of it. Cosmonauts.
lost there.
Yeah. On the Soyuz 11 mission in 1971, when returning from the Soviet space station, their return capsule suffered an
Suez.
accidental decompression. However, their bodies were returned to Earth since the capsule was fully automated. So there were no dead bodies.
All right, so the capsule brought corpses back to Earth.
Yeah, because
So it's basically a space corpse capsulating machine.
Well, it was automated to return anyway, and it just had a failure in its decompression, and they died up.
Yeah, I think the only closest to dying in actual space were the crew of Apollo 13. They're the closest to actually dying in
Yeah.
space.
rather than the many hundreds of people that actually died on the way there.
Yeah, or be it on takeoff platform, the launch pad itself, or yeah.
Okay, so we've got another question from the 8-ball, which is probably gonna fucking lead us down the same path we've just managed to get ourselves out of. But what harsh truths do you prefer to ignore?
That I'm ever wrong. I don't try not to ignore truths. I like having truths that are challenging.
Yes.
Personally,
What harsh truths do I prefer to ignore? I'm leveling
Step-
up to level 4.0. That's what I'm going to ignore. That's a
Oh, tell me about it.
fudge that.
Tell me about it.
I mean, the harshest truth is that people are not trying to do their best. Right? People are generally pretty selfish.
Are they just scooting to get by? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, it's good. It's
Just enough not to get sacked.
Yeah, like you meet like a bus driver or like a pilot. Like they're not trying to do their best. They're just coasting, right?
Did you say a bus driver or a pilot?
Yeah.
That's quite a leap.
No. Both of these human beings have my life in their hands,
Okay.
right?
Well,
So in my opinion, they're as important as each other.
true, but one of them is also has the added ingredient of gravity.
Yeah, and the other one has the added ingredient of drunk human beings on their fucking bus.
True.
I'd rather be a pilot not dealing with human beings than a bus driver dealing with drunk retards.
Well, let's just backtrack that word a little bit. I mean, we are trying to clean it up. We are trying to clean up the stream
Are we
slightly.
trying to PG this stuff?
No, well, I think we've broken the PG barrier in half on this one, haven't we? So yeah. But let's read the some of the words coming out of this man are not representative of Death and Gloria as a brand.
That's what I'm here for.
That's what you're here for. Matt has just said, fudge this, I'm going for another question. So there you go. If you could be a member of any TV sitcom family, which would you be?
Oh man, sitcom.
Is this live action sitcom?
Sitcom is TV sitcom. That's all. That's it. That's TV sitcom. It could be live action. It could be animated. It could be anything really.
Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty.
Oh
probably.
yeah, mate. Winner.
Would you want to be in his family? Because his family.
No, but if you're Rick,
No, I'd be him.
You'd be Rick.
Yeah, if you're Rick,
If you're a member
that's
of
it.
any,
So-
No. I think it says
it's asking if you're a member of that family or
if you could
Yeah,
be a
I see.
member of any family, not a character. So you just become a new member of the
but
family.
Summer in that family is pretty good though, because she always comes out on top.
I don't really think of that as a family sitcom, to be honest.
No. I don't.
I mean, I realise it's very much about a family, but I feel like a family sitcom is, I don't know, Roseanne or something.
Simpsons.
Simpsons.
Yeah.
I mean, like it wouldn't be bad being in Roseanne's family because they're just like working class schmucks do well, you know.
Yeah, you'd want like King of Queens or something. Would be
King
better.
of Queens.
King of Queens.
Yeah.
Are you familiar?
Yeah.
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 Or like Raymond.
Everybody loves Raymond.
Everybody
yeah.
loves Raymond. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. You could
as
just
long-
just go men behaving badly and just have fun and drink all the time.
Are they a family?
Are they a
though?
family
They're
though?
not a family.
Oh, okay, right, fine. 2.4 children.
I was about to say that was my next one. 2.4 children. Where are you going? Just gonna get up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna disappear for a little bit.
You're attached.
No, I wouldn't want to live there.
Only Fools and Horses.
Oh, that's a good shout.
Yeah, there's plenty of.
That flat's not great though. Like if you were stuck living forever, I mean,
It's literally just destroyed. everything.
there you go. Fresh Prince. That's pretty cushy.
Ooh,
Yeah, that is
you're
good family,
living in the good life there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Or Father Ted.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, Father Ted.
Yeah.
Right. I think. Garfield. I'd like
yeah.
to, Garfield would be pretty good. You've got John and a couple animals.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm just gonna put my light on. It's getting well dark here.
that could work.
I
I look like
think I'd go for Garfield actually.
a floating head.
You do look like a floating head. This happened to me on another stream actually when we had Amos from Tesseract and my co-host who is Canadian called Etienne. He got up to go to the bathroom and then I think Amos got up to go to the bathroom and then my co-host disappeared as well and I was just like, what? You know, just everyone leave
Just
me.
there by yourself,
I was just sitting there by myself,
talking to no one.
talking to my friends in the chat. Thank God for my
Ah.
friends in the chat. That's all I can say.
Red Dwarf would be fun.
Yeah, Red
Yeah.
Dwarf would be
Oh, I'd
fun.
love that. I missed that. Yeah, Red Dwarf. That'd be ace.
But only early Red Dwarf. You don't want the later ones when they're all
Yeah.
stuck on
Right,
Starbug.
it went crap, but do you not think the last couple have slightly redeemed it?
I haven't watched it since they were in that prison cell because the prison thought one was so bad. I thought
Yeah, that was awful. Then they did that horrible thing where they went to EastEnders just because he is on EastEnders.
Who's on EastEnders? Craig
Chris
Charles.
Lister, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
listen. Oh,
Craig.
yeah. Is it?
Then there's been a sort of an iffy one, and then the last 2 seasons have actually been fine.
And
Oh, okay.
They did that.
Well worth watching. Yeah,
They did a couple of movies on Dave.
there's definitely 2 seasons that are okay.
That's good because I actually went to start watching Red Dwarf from the beginning again because it's on Netflix.
Oh, it's wonderful.
And I just grew up with all the beginning seasons, and it's very
Did you
influential.
like all the books too? I used to love them.
I did read the first one, but I'm not a reader, so I don't really remember anything I read.
Okay.
Like,
Well, wasn't the first one the only one by both?
They wrote 2
And
with both of them, and then they went
Yeah.
their separate ways, and they both have their own books.
Gotcha.
But Rob Grant was always slightly more serious, then Doug Naylor was a bit more silly.
Yeah, Naylor and Grant. That's it.
Yeah, so like the Red Dwarf series really inspires a lot of Death and Gloria songs, and a lot of the storylines and stuff comes from Red Dwarf actually.
Well,
So-
again,
Do you know what? That would have been a good franchise pick,
Yeah.
It never occurred to me.
I think we're going to be doing these franchise offs quite often, so I thought I'd just start off with Star Trek so that we have somewhere to go for our next one.
Red Dwarf was inspired by Star Trek. To the point where I remember an interview with Patrick Stewart talking about how he became a fan of Red Dwarf because someone told him that there was some British TV show trying to rip him off. And he went to check it out. He was just like, this is nothing like what we do, but it is absolutely genius. And that's how he became a fan of Red Dwarf. So yeah.
Yeah, Red Dwarf is. I have to go back and watch it. I have to go back and watch these news. Anyway, I was saying that Netflix, and then I got this. I got this notification on Netflix, and I had until the 17th of June to watch it because they were taking it back off again. So obviously, like the kids aren't into it. Kids are not into it. So Abby is saying Red Dwarf as well. It's like they all love it. They all love it. They all love it indeed. Let's have one more question, and then that'll be it. I was going to run a quick raffle today, but I think everyone who's in the chat has everything that we ever give away. So there's not much point. Not much point today.
You can get kudos, though.
But if there's only kudos, people don't run it anyway, so it's fine.
You win internet points.
Internet points. Nobody cares about internet points.
Oh, I care about internet points.
Okay, what is the stupidest thing you've done off your own free will? Let's end on this one, shall we?
My God.
No.
Stupidest thing.
I mean, I feel like I'm fairly reserved.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of anything sort of recent. I mean, I know there's. I remember I regretted playing with a Swiss Army knife when I was a kid. I think I must have been about 9 or 10, and it sprung shut and nearly cut the top of my thumb off. That was a pretty stupid thing to have done of my own free will.
I mean, if we're doing childhood stuff, there was a little telephone box in the nearby village where a friend of mine and me let off a smoke bomb in the telephone box, which is no biggie, but there was a typical local do-gooder nearby who absolutely just hounded us, called the police, and me and my mate at age 11, 12, police car ride through the village, phone call to my parents in the evening, the full works.
I thought
So
you were about,
that's probably the stupidest.
I thought you were about to say there was an old woman in it at the time.
What about you? You can't think of
I came to this country.
No, yeah, came to this country. I think I split my finger open when I was a kid with a piece of glass, trying to get a conker out of a tree. Thinking like I've got a piece of glass in my hand, so what I'll do is I'll throw it up, and that'll hit the conker out of the tree. You know what getting conkers out of trees, right? Or for.
Nope.
And it just cut my finger like right open because I flicked a piece of glass into a tree. Like that was a bit stupid. That was probably it, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of certainly a lot of dumb things I did growing up back in Ireland. Yeah, but nothing since getting to this sort of age.
So for the folks who maybe have just joined us at the end, do you guys want to tell us about your 250th episode of your podcast and just reiterate where you got the stuff that you've got going on for yourselves, just to end us off?
Roughly every 2 weeks, we do a podcast that's mostly devoted to everything going on with the world of alternative music, rock and metal. We play music, we chat about all kinds of shit, and we love doing lists. So on the 250th episode, we came up with the challenge of going back through the past, 10 years worth of end of year lists to compile a mega list of top 10 albums. So that was kind of the topic, which I agonized over, and Matt did his noble thing of just super chilled, throw it out on the spot.
Yeah, last minute is my middle name, I suppose.
So is that episode out now? Or
Hopefully it'll go online probably this evening. Yeah, if not, first thing tomorrow morning.
Have you finished editing it now then?
It's edited. I have the cake, which I'm going to eat. So, yeah.
I have my cake topper. I need a cake for the topper.
No, Joe's made a fantastic looking cake, so yeah, I'm going to tuck into that next.
What else have you got going on, Pete? Have you got your band doing stuff?
I play drums for Saboteurs. We're a little bit still in hiatus because of COVID, although we're meant to be playing a festival next month, Call of the Wild Festival. We're still down for that, and supposedly it's still going on. So who knows? We need to probably have a practice soon, first one in a year and a half.
I always associate your band with Badgers. That's it, just like the Badger band.
Yeah, the singer is obsessed with badgers, and they've used badgers in various artworks. I don't really particularly like badgers. I hit one with my car once, and it gave me on this quiet country track, I just remember this thing pulling out in front of me, looking up slowly and giving me the most horrified look as I've just mowed it down.
Plow it.
I was like, I'm not getting out to see how it's doing because it'll kill me.
Badgers are assholes, though, to be fair. Like, they're not friendly animals.
No, that's what I mean. I'm not getting out to check on it, no.
Matt, what have you got going on?
Well, again, outside of the podcast, I am a freelance graphic designer and illustrator. I run a clothing brand called Death Cult, which has kind of been on a bit of a hiatus for 2020 and 2021. I didn't really think that supplying clothing was necessarily a high priority in the scheme of things, so kind of put it on a bit of a backbench. But I'm hoping to get that all relaunched and running again now that the world seems to be reopening again. And then outside of that, I just I do freelance graphic design work, and I've been doing lots of stuff with different people recently. Death Cult, it's DETHKULT. Sorry, I just saw someone in the chat.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's
that's fine.
deathcult.co.com.
Oh,
Just,
there you go.
I can attest to his graphic design skill.
Yeah, you employed him too.
I have purchased his services.
Yeah, we're working on a project together at the moment, aren't we?
We are, yes, which I'm clearly behind on my messages with. But yeah, I've been busy doing crazy stuff recently. Like the last year has been pretty crazy. I've been doing. I've also started like a sort of enamel pin company with a friend in America. So we've been doing. That's kind of taken off over the last year. So that's kind of been a really interesting sort of company to be working in, doing sort of like kinky lewd pins.
Oh, that's the Turtles one, isn't it? I don't like
Yes.
I don't like them. They have April in compromising situations, and
Oh my god, lewds and nudes.
yeah, it is.
You know, it's a crazy market. There's a crazy demand for it. You know,
Oh my god, there is.
So, you know, I just help out with all the designs and sort of help run it with a friend based in America. But yeah,
Yeah, Bjorn has suddenly just perked up at the word kinky, and it's suddenly Mr. Sweden has just poked his nose in. Basically, it's a shibari version of April from the Turtles that
Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles.
Teenage Mutant.
No, Ninja Turtles.
we did a Shibari Chitara from Thundercat.
No. Come on. I mean, I'm into shibari, but if it's done tastefully, and that's just
That's
the ones
not
I've seen have
tasteful.
not been tasteful.
That was done tastefully.
Very lewd.
We do a whole like sort of Super Mario inspired range.
Oh my god.
And you know, we've done like Tokyo Ghoul, lots of sort of weeb and sort of waifu kind of inspired brands. So there's lots of stuff that we're doing, Darkstalkers and stuff like that.
Everything for the weebs.
The weebs.
The weebs.
Hell yeah!
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
That's amazing. And Matt will be doing our hot sauce label with Rockadoodle Do Belfast.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Our hot sauce, which is called Use It As a Weapon, which is be coming out with the VIP package, should you wish to purchase our VIP package of the new album, which is coming out. It's available now. It's available
So
now.
the hot sauce
Yes.
that's being made for you,
Yep.
this manufacturer, what other hot sauces do they make?
Oh, what a segue. Yeah, they do for Snow Patrol. Snow Patrol, and they're in cahoots. They're in talks at the moment with Big M, but we can't talk about that. They're in...
I was going to ask, what sort of Scoville level is the sauce that you're going for? What is the Death and Glory?
All
the
the
Death and Glory-
Scovilles.
All many Scovilles. No, I don't know actually. I don't know that. We're actually not having. I don't think we're going for a super hot one. I think we were going for something a bit milder than that.
Well, it's a more garlic-based thing, isn't it?
I think that's.
So you
been
go
proved.
for flavor over sort of temperature?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so because I want to be able to eat it. I want to be able to eat it.
You want to put it on everything.
Everything,
rather than
yeah,
just
but
burn
yeah,
your face
basically
off.
everything. And we have asphyxicated ourselves a number of times with Dave's hot sauces. I have to say, like because we that's like the only hot sauce that we have in the house apart from Sriracha. What's it? Sriracha, which everyone obviously has. And then we have Dave an assortment of Dave's sauces, and
Yeah.
you know.
So the thing with Dave's hot sauces is if you cook with them, it turns into mustard gas.
Yeah.
And you literally gas out your entire fucking house.
Oh dear.
Yeah. And everyone's hitting the deck and like crawling out of rooms and stuff.
Yeah, so that's why we're going for something that's a little less.
A little milder, because he makes a hot sauce.
He does make a hot sauce. Makes a hot sauce.
Well, no, I do like a good, especially a tasty sort of dipping hot sauce is always
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So I've already got a restaurant that's going to take it as well.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, the Deptford bus we're in talks with them to take bottles off us. So that'll be nice. Why not? Why not?
brilliant.
Why not indeed? So that's it. That's our show for today. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us.
Thank you.
It was the rowdiest, I think, of the debates we've had so far. But I think it set us off on a path of just putting franchises and stuff against each other.
We can get rowdier.
I have an actor who is willing to come on and argue which of the not DC, the other one,
Marvel.
which Marvel characters are the best Marvel characters. So if you're out there in internet land and that sounds like an argument you want to get involved in, then we need someone to go up against him because neither of us are really into Marvel that much. So we need another Marvel expert to go up against.
I think I could sort of.
I think Matt could handle that.
So is that what we're going to do, Matt? So basically what we can do is bring in a guest from somewhere and just have you argue with them. Like the
Yeah, I think I have got a special ability for that, I think.
Amazing. All right, guys, that's all for today. Thank you very much for joining us. I am going to turn on a little video at the end that is publicizing my album, and then we are going to raid someone. We're going to raid someone. I'm going to have a look at actually who's online now to be raided. Let's find out. Bloodstock Festival, as always. Let's raid them. Let's raid them. All right. So actually, I don't need to do the album pre thingy. We'll just go and raid them, shall we? We'll just start a raid.
Do it.
Do it. So it's going to count down for the next 7 seconds, and then we're all going to go over and raid Bloodstock. So stay with us. Say hello to them. Tell them we sent you. Generally, be a nice egg, and maybe they'll let us play their festival. That's always the hope, right? It's always the hope. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. See you all later.
Click it.